What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Dynasty Mafia podcast. With you, as always, Antonio and Keenan. It is March 13th. We picked an amazing day to get back to you guys because we've got so much going on. Brady is back. We've got March Madness coming through, as you can see on YouTube. Keenan's repping his Duke gear. And we got some beautiful golf for the Players' Championship. There's a lot going on, and it is daylight savings time, one of my most favorite and hated days of the year. So, Keenan, why don't you tell us how you're doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Selection Sunday is like a holiday to us here at the Jimmy Jeeches. Last night didn't go well. Didn't go as planned for my Dukies, but they're still in the tournament. Hopefully we could win 6 games. But I'm ready to talk some fantasy football, man. It's been a while. It's been a long time. But I mean, we do have a little bit of sad news. Do you want to? I usually pass it over to our buddy Big E. Want to take this one?
I will take this one. We do have some sad news following up by some good news, but some sad news is you guys have all heard Eric and all the success that's been going through with his career. Unfortunately, but fortunately, he's got another opportunity that's going to have to take him away from the podcast. So we're wishing him the best of luck with everything. You know, he's my brother. So, I'll still see him all the time. And, maybe we'll have some appearances here or there.
He's coming on. He's coming on.
But
I'll drag him on the show.
Exactly. Yeah. But he will absolutely be missed. We say that with a really heavy heart.
Yeah.
But the positive news, we're at episode 50. We have hit 50 episodes. We have had 50 chances to ruin your guys' day. Thank you so much to anybody that's been with us the whole way. Anybody that's brand new, welcome in. We're starting at ground zero with 50 here. But yeah, it's a brand new off season. So that's why we took a little couple month hiatus, as we have done now for 2 seasons. And we're back. We are ready. We're refreshed. We got a lot going on today. We just talked about a few things, the news and notes. Keenan has something he'd like to chime in on.
I don't know. I just want to retire. This isn't what I wanted anymore. I had a great career, 49 episodes, but I just got to retire.
I saw this coming. He's getting pretty old and gray. It's kind of tough to hear.
These past 2 seconds, I realized my place is still behind the mic and not in the stands. That time will come, but it's not now. I love you, Antonio, and I love my supporting family. They make it all possible. I'm coming back for the 50th episode here on the Dynasty Mafia. We have unfinished business. Sound familiar?
I think that was amazing. I hope you didn't rehearse that ahead of time. That all sounded like it came right from the heart.
The heart. Yeah.
And you were ready. You were ready to say that.
But what do you think? What do you think about Brady coming back?
So when he retired, I did tweet out that it was all a bunch of baloney. However, I thought it was more so because he wanted to go be a Denver Bronco. So I don't find it ironic that this week, as we'll talk about in a little bit, that has happened. This amazing, ridiculous week. I don't remember a week like this in a long time in the NFL. But now that Denver Broncos spot is solidified, we saw a few dominoes have fallen now that Kirk Cousins is re-signed. Tom Brady is coming back. I don't know. I'm surprised, but not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I knew he was coming back as well. I thought he was going to the 49ers because that was his childhood team or whatever. But there's going to be a lot of fantasy questions now. Godwin coming back off that ACL was tagged. Fournette, free agent. Gronk, free agent. They're most likely coming back. So if you have those guys, you're probably, pretty excited for Brady to come back. And if those 2 guys resign, which I expect both of them to resign on, another 1-year deal, whatever, $5 million, whatever the vet minimum is or whatever, But I think that really helps anyone that's a Godwin holder, Fournette holder, or Gronk holder. As long as those 2 guys sign, I think you're very excited that Brady's back. And I think Tom Brady's pissed. Let's just say that. He's going to have another career year.
Like I said, I'm not surprised, but not surprised. I just don't understand why he would retire to come back to the same team. That's the only thing that's just puzzling me because I had told you I thought he retired to save them money, and that's why he would go have his options when the contract was voided. But now he came back right before the new league year. He's going to get his $15 million that was pushed off.
What if his plan was to get traded and it didn't work out?
That's why I'm saying, like, something didn't happen. So if that's why, I wonder if it's that Russell Wilson going to the Broncos.
You heard what Bruce said. It'll take 5 first-round picks for him to trade Brady.
Oh, jeez. Well, he had to choose to come back. It wasn't Arians' choice. But we heard turmoil. We thought Leftwich was going to leave to go get a head coaching job.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. He never left.
Yeah, so everybody is back for, well, like we said, there's a few free agents, but I think Fournette and Gronk will probably come back. But we got a lot of news and notes today. We're going to talk more about the free agents. That's going to be happening with the new league year coming on Tuesday, March 16th at 4 p.m. But the tampering period does start tomorrow at noon. The illegal tampering period, quote unquote.
Just start free agency.
Yeah, just start it, right? But we're going to talk about a couple buys and sells that we have with the non-point scoring season being so young. And then the Mafia market. We have made a few trades, Keenan and I, in a few of our leagues now that everybody's getting a little active again.
Don't you love when you renew the league and 2 hours later is the first trade?
It's like the running of the bulls. Yeah. Once that gate opens, everybody start running, and who can get hit first, because
every year it's like the first couple teams that like open the gates to the trade market, and then you got in it, and then I got in it. Big E got in it in a trade as well. But NFL's a 12-month league. That's the way I look at it.
It's exactly what it is. It is 12 months. It is never ending. It is continuous. We are actually going to talk about some off-season, non-point scoring season tips next week to help you guys, because, like we said, it's only March 13th. We still have just under 2 months until we even have the draft, and then you're still looking at over 3 months until real football is coming through. So there's a lot of time. You got to make sure to be patient. But we're going to discuss a lot of things. Let's dig into those news and notes, Keenan. Because we did just talk about we just talked about Brady. Got paid Kirk Cousins is getting paid. There was talks of, at least from what I was hearing, the Vikings might be on the move of some of the elderly players and kind of trying to reframe. But you got Kirk coming back on a 1 year, so I think Cook's probably not being traded anymore, and Thielen will probably be sticking around. Are you happy as a Jefferson owner?
I mean, I don't know. You got to let me know who this Kevin O'Connell guy is, the head coach, first, and what type of offense they're going to run there in Minnesota. Someone's not going to be happy, because if you're a Cook owner and this new coaching staff goes from run first then throw to more of a passing attack, you're not going to be happy if you're a Cook owner. But you will be happy if you're a Jefferson owner. But if they stay, run heavy still, and Kirk Cousins can't make the throws that you need an NFL quarterback to make, you're not going to be happy as a Jefferson owner. What we saw Chase do this past season with the Bengals is what Jefferson can do with a really good quarterback and a really good offense.
Yeah, I was just double checking, because I know he was with the Redskins, O'Connell, in 2017. I believe, though, that was the year that Cousins left. So I don't think he dealt with Kirk Cousins. I'm going to check that up as well. But, I mean, if he dealt with Kirk Cousins in Washington, it would make some sense why they would keep him. But for only 1 year was just – I don't know. I just feel like you're setting everything back another year, because you're looking for Super Bowl.
Yeah, the interesting thing to me out of all this is I think they were on the Russell Wilson train. I think they wanted him. And now with Russell Wilson signing, what other options do you have? You're pretty much in a win now mode. With Cook in his prime, Jefferson in his prime, you don't want to waste those two guys' career. Cook is towards the end of his prime almost. So, I mean,
I wonder if they weren't on Wilson. I mean, you could be right. Like they would have had to. I don't know what pieces they would. I mean, Cook probably was somebody that would have been involved to go with that deal, maybe even Thielen. But yeah, O'Connell was the coach for Kirk Cousins. Well, the quarterback's coach for the 1 year in 2017, the last year that he was tagged. So that's probably what they're looking at. Hey, let's make it another year. And if we seem to mesh well, if we work well together, if it goes, then we're going to maybe look at another 2 or 3 year deal. Because everyone's trying to be successful, of course. So, yeah, I think as a Cook owner, you're happy. As a Jefferson owner, you got to be elated. Thielen, he might be in the best situation that he's going to be in. So when they're talking about possibly moving on from him, I don't know where else he's going to go that he might be getting double-digit touchdowns. Green Bay, but I don't know if Green Bay would grab him,
He's not a free
so,
agent,
yeah. No, he's not, but they've been talking about trading him. And you get Rodgers, you're going to have a high touchdown percentage.
You're not going to trade him in that division, though.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of players that didn't want to get let go, Michael Gallup, we saw him fill in the shoes for another player that we're going to talk about in a second. He got a 5-year, $62.5 million deal.
Wow.
Kind of surprising.
I was shocked that, especially coming off an ACL injury, I was shocked that they just made this switch. I really was.
Big E called it, though. He called it. Eric called that a year ago.
Years ago, yeah, a couple years ago.
A couple years ago, he was like, Gallup's going to be their number 2, CD will be 1, and Amari's going to be cut in 2022. So, shout out to him there. But yeah, sorry, you can keep going. I had to give Eric credit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this, because if you're a Gallup owner, I don't know. I really don't know. But if you're a Lamb owner, on the other hand, you got to be happy. You got rid of Amari, one of the wide receivers. You're going to get more targets now. You got to, right? And you're going to be the main weapon in the red zone. I think if you're a Lamb owner, I think you're very happy. I just don't know how to feel about the Gallup thing fantasy-wise. Great wide receiver. I just don't know if he can be that number 2 yet, or if that ACL injury is going to be a factor. Clearly, they're right. Clearly, they're not worried about it. So.
And the pedigree's there. I mean, he was a Blitnikoff winner. He was a high draft pick. So there was a lot of promise coming for him. But you're right. Has he shown spurts that he can be that fantastic potential wide receiver 2, borderline wide receiver 1 on that team? Yeah, he's shown those spurts. But we got to see it continuous, especially if you're going to be a wide receiver 2. It's like Gabe Davis in Buffalo, right? Yeah. At the moment, you might see Gabe Davis as the wide receiver 2. But if they don't add any other pieces, can you trust in Gabe Davis? I mean, the money's not talking like it was just for Michael Gallup. Yeah. And they let Blake Jarwin go. So huge for Dalton Schultz, huge for Michael Gallup, huge for CeeDee Lamb. I think, we're going to talk about a few free agents here, but I do think that Dallas is going to add to a couple more pieces to their pie. But I'm excited for Gallup. He's played in the slot. He plays on the outside. He's quick. Yeah, so there's a chance he could be a big breakout.
Yeah, I do agree there. Let's jump to this Amari Cooper trade. I know it's a little down the list on our sheet here.
Well, why Gallup was getting the money?
Yeah, I mean, were you shocked that it was a 5th and a 6th only?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what the heck?
Like the Bills traded for Diggs a first a couple years ago for a wide receiver in his prime that costs, in the teens, and a 5th and a 6th, and they sent a 6th. So really, you're swapping.
Amari Cooper is probably the best route runner in the league.
He's very good. He's very good.
And everyone, once this trade happened, everyone's like, well, they couldn't. OBJ wasn't successful there. Amari Cooper's not. His career is over. I don't think it is. I think Amari Cooper is maybe not 10 times better, but he's at least 5 times better than OBJ. And his route running is going to help him out. I mean, Baker's not the most accurate quarterback, but Baker can make NFL throws, and I think Baker is not a finished product yet.
What we saw in 2014 from Odell, the fast twitch, the burst, the explosiveness, the multi-touchdown games, what we saw from there is something that Amari Cooper can still do. We haven't really seen it from Odell. We saw, the Super Bowl was probably his best game in 3 or 4 years. Or just, at least the impact he brought. Yeah. But now you have someone like Amari who has shown each and every – he's been a little inconsistent, yes, of course. But you give him the volume, he has the big playability. He's one of the only players with, multiple touch – or I think he's at 4 200-yard games and a few 3 touchdown.
You're going to be inconsistent when there's, 4 or 5 targets on an offense.
Yeah, we saw good production on what a run-first offense for Amari was. That first year he was with Dallas, they ran that ball heavily. They obviously still are, but they do love to throw the ball with Dak. Baker's going to throw it 30 to 35 times a game. That's
Yeah.
what it's going to be. Amari's probably going to see near 30% target share. Odell's a great route runner. You're not wrong, but Amari does create that separation a little bit more. He is a bigger wide receiver. He does have some more speed. I think it just gives Baker a little bit more comfort compared to someone like Odell, especially when Odell's running the short routes. But
especially with Odell's mouth, so
his mouth.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
So the second that they got Amari, Jarvis Landry's given permission to seek a trade. I texted you right away and I said I wouldn't be surprised if the reason they traded for Amari was because Landry wanted to trade first.
Do you think he wants to be traded before? Do you think he wanted to be traded before the Cooper trade?
I think he did. I think he probably went to them earlier this week and he said, guys, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm not happy with how we're moving forward. I don't know. I think that's how it worked out because in my mind, you just got another wide receiver one on the other side.
Yeah, why would you?
Who's helping you. They just tagged Njoku. No idea why, but they tagged Njoku, so they're going to want to use him. Why in the hell are you doing this? Like Cooper doesn't have to go in the slot. He's not going to go in the slot. So Jarvis can stick and do exactly what he wants now that Odell Beckham's not going to take that over. It was just confusing me. So that's why I thought maybe they were sticking it to Jarvis and like, hey, we just got a wide receiver. We don't need you. So you can go seek a trade now and we'll get probably a little compensation.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I think. I don't know how many suitors. There probably are a few.
I think they'll get a 5th and 6th for Landry?
That's the thing. Like, that's what I don't understand. I mean, I know that part of it was Amari's contract. Like, I understand that that's why the picks were lower, but I just feel like a third, maybe a third, and then you guys got a 5th, something a little bit more. I was just kind of surprised. But yeah, Jarvis will probably fetch something similar. If they don't wind up cutting him, I got to double check his contract, see if there's any ability for that if they don't find any suitors to trade him, or it might wind up being draft time. But Donovan Peoples-Jones, due to that, is the wide receiver 2 right now.
I feel you got to feel.
I know we got to hit free agency, but you think they're going to add? Of course.
Yeah.
Now, do you think they're going to add so DPJ isn't wide receiver 2?
Yeah, I think so. That's the same conversation we have as Bills fans with Davis. He
one has shown a little more.
Yeah, he might be. I mean, Davis has shown a little bit more, but I mean, both can be wide receiver 2s, maybe. But you always, if you're gonna, especially in that division, you're gonna want to, I mean, I don't know. I think they want to add something on that offensive side.
Would you throw a second at a Donovan Peoples-Jones owner right now?
Sure.
For free agency, do you think that's a little too heavy?
That's a little high. That's a little high because that's the big concern though. I really do think they're going to go out and get I don't know if they'll get one of the top free agents in the league, but I mean, what if they got, I don't know, Sammy Watkins?
It would certainly compete with Jones. I would still maybe think Jones would be second, but
T.Y. Hilton,
Allen Robinson. That was, you fill your outsides. That's. I mean, again, we'll talk a little more about free agents, but he was somebody I was kind of thinking of once they traded for Cooper because that would give you two kind of similar style of players on the outside and Jarvis in the middle. But then immediately it came out that Jarvis doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Jamison Crowder, he would be pretty interesting to keep the slot. So. All right, so that might be enough. As a DPJ owner, you might not want to give it up for a third either. So that's why I was wondering.
No, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to pull that trade out. It's crazy in about less than a year how much the Browns have fallen off. Their coach won, the coach of the year 2 years ago. They made the playoffs. OBJ and Landry, best buds from. Did they go to LSU together?
Yeah.
Yeah, best buds. Chubb was, having a great year. Hunt was having a great year, and look what happened last year. And now that whole wide receiver
quarterback, all in the quarterback. I was really excited for a lot of pieces on the Browns offense, but we aren't seeing like Harrison Bryant. I'm excited for him, but we're not seeing too much of him coming through either. Austin Hooper, like that's the thing with Njoku. I don't mean to talk too much about the Browns, but the thing with Njoku is why are they tagging him, paying him nearly $10 million? You have Austin Hooper that you are paying. $8+ million a year. I was just really confused. Like Baker loves tight ends, but man, this is the last chance for him. They can't.
They regret that trade or that signing. The Hooper signing.
Yeah, they have to. Speaking of regrets, there might be a few people who might regret not going after Deshaun Watson. Ethics aside, of course. Well, ethics not aside, but people that decided, hey, I didn't want to go after him or anything for those things. But he was the criminal charges were dropped against him. It doesn't mean he is away from the NFL for any type of suspension. But there is potential victories in fantasy for that purpose, and that's the only one we are speaking of is fantasy related. Of course, what it had.
I mean, if your
accusations,
if your boy Calvin Ridley got suspended for a year, I can't imagine what Deshaun Watson's going to get suspended.
Yeah, so that's the thing. We're gonna see. Obviously, there's a lot more information that has to come out, but Seattle has a vacancy at quarterback now, and there's a few other teams that have certainly inquired about Watson.
What teams? What teams?
So my assumption would be
Minnesota's done.
Carolina.
I think Miami's done too. I don't think
Tepper wants a quarterback real bad, and I think he's one of the people that will push for that. He's a risk taker. That's how he made his fortune. So I know for sure Carolina's involved, especially if you're willing to deal CMC. Yeah. They're willing to deal a few pieces to get themselves.
I think those are the only two teams.
Quarterback. The 49ers, I wouldn't be surprised.
Would you? I mean, they just drafted Lance at second overall.
Yeah, but then they kept Garoppolo, and then they're near the Super Bowl. I don't know what the plans are. Like Shanahan almost got fired last year. That's just me stating how. I'm just stating how we've had that conversation. But he was on the hot seat.
Oh yeah,
and they grabbed a sexy new piece and they didn't use it. So I mean, I don't know.
Is that a fireable? Is that a fireable offense?
Of course not. I think he's a fantastic coach.
If you drafted a player second overall, especially at the quarterback position, and now with him only playing one game or two games, and you figure out that he's a bust without even giving him a shot,
he didn't call him a bust yet. I think it's a lot like so. Think about Chicago, right? Matt Nagy, he had an opportunity with Trubisky, didn't work out. Had an opportunity with Fields, then he had Dalton. He wasn't let go before that opportunity came. So I think we need to see what Lance is going to do.
If they trade for Watson, they have to send Lance back too.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. Like if people are going to want Lance.
Yeah.
Jimmy G's going to go. I don't know where the hell he's going to go somewhere though. But I mean, maybe they do ship off Lance. I feel like that. Watson's proven. He's great. Anybody second guessing that? I mean, he's still top 5. Like there is no doubt. Like he led the league in passing last year with literally nobody. He's a fantastic quarterback. Well, 2 years ago, but he's a fantastic quarterback. And like I said, I think Seattle's going to get him. We're going to talk a little bit more about Seattle and some of their pieces later. I'm high on DK, not necessarily for the reason of Wilson coming there, but again, we will touch on that. But
the NFL doesn't care about moves. The NFL doesn't care about ethics. Let's start there. How many players gotten slap on a wrist for whatever they did, and everyone wants Deshaun Watson behind bars or out of the league because what he did. But the NFL has no ethics
Calvin Ridley is going to get paid, and he's still going to get paid to not play.
Yeah,
I can't imagine. I don't know if they're going to be voiding the contract. I don't think they will, but he's going to get paid for technically gambling on games. We're not going to talk about that right now.
How about him almost getting traded to the Eagles?
Oh, really?
Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
I did not.
And then, the Eagles pushed to get Ridley. And,
I saw a few teams were offering.
Well, the Eagles were close to trading for him, and Atlanta backed out because that gambling thing came out.
No.
Yeah, but the gambling thing didn't come out for another week. So,
apparently Atlanta was telling teams, is it courtesy? No. Yeah. Any offers coming through on Ridley? No, because they knew it was coming out.
Yeah.
Good for them for trying to help him, though. I hope the Bills trade for him, but that's just me.
Back to Watson,
Are you trading for him in a super flex?
Yeah, I am.
First.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen the quarterback competition this year. And would you take that gamble that he might I mean, let's say he's suspended for 8 games, would you still be trading that first?
Yeah.
As a competing team?
He's still
as a losing team?
Top 10 quarterback. Either or. Top 10 quarterback. Super flex. Give me him.
What
for a first? That's cheap.
What first would you stop at? How high I mean, I'm not going to assume you're giving the 101 for Watson. That's a little egregious. Even if you love Watson, you don't know what he's doing at this moment.
Listen, if I don't know what the where I'm picking.
This is the cheapest time, though. Like, that's why we're talking about. Like, this is the cheapest moment to get him because
once he's traded, his value is going to skyrocket. It's just the way people think.
Even if he plays in Houston, he's going to
be
the top 5 quarterback.
Vegas has Houston as the fourth leading odds on Houston for him to play in Houston. Did I say that right? Yeah.
Where's first? Seattle?
Yeah. I didn't.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I just saw fourth. I thought that was interesting. But maybe 1-5 is where I would, now I'd like to get the top 5 one of the top 5 players in the draft. It's not going to be a quarterback this year. I don't think quarterbacks are really, I don't think this class is that good. But after 1-5, I think I'm fine with trading the first for Watson.
Yeah, and that's like you said, even though the quarterbacks aren't worth it right now, the top 4 picks, above that, well, you can probably get value wise.
Yeah,
you could still get other players, other pieces to then probably still try to obtain Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So think about that too. Yeah, like you said, if you're looking to trade a top 3 pick to get Watson or a top 5 pick, if anyone's looking at that package, maybe try to maneuver somebody else and see if there's somebody else that the Watson or might like.
Because if he's traded to Seattle or San Francisco,
my God,
good luck.
And then and that's so the same thing connected.
What about Pittsburgh?
Well, in Pittsburgh, yeah, they've talked. I mean, would you? So this kind of brings me to a little. Like, do you gamble at all in fantasy when it comes to things like that? Like, do you kind of go with? I know it's a big gamble, like to think about the one of 31 other teams that they're going to be traded to, but would you buy a couple players on? Let's just use Seattle as an example. If you thought a player would go there. Like, let's say you like the player. Let's just use DK Metcalf as an example. Let's say you like DK Metcalf.
This is the cheapest he's going to be.
Right? This is probably the cheapest he's going to be.
Yeah.
So would you go and make a trade for someone like DK Metcalf right now, thinking that they're going to either have Drew Lock or make another move for somebody else?
I mean, we've seen wide receivers succeed with bad quarterback play. Our boy, Scary Terry, every year somehow has a really good season. Is it a top 10 season? No, but I mean, it's still fantasy football respected, where they end up in the top 20% of the league, no matter who the quarterback is. If DK Metcalf is an outstanding wide receiver, if I'm trading a first for DK Metcalf, sign me up.
And if you can. I mean, that I would be trading a first in the Superflex.
First plus. It's first and
even PPR. Yeah, because people are going to look at it as the stats. It's March, you guys. They've forgotten 3 months, like 2-3 months ago what's happened. They probably forgot last week what's happened,
Yeah.
So you want to talk to everybody, and you've got to make sure to write things down so you're remembering, or you've got to dig into more than just, he played 17 games and didn't have 1,000 yards. All right, well, he had 12 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He had the same amount of he had a career high targets.
And you got to remember, Russell Wilson was hurt too last year. So
Russell Wilson was hurt too. And then when you dig deeper, you realize he also ran shorter routes. The offense changed. Tyler Lockett is another part of competition, and he did great. DK Metcalf ran shorter routes himself. I think I might have already said that. Sorry. But, he's not going to he's got a lower yards per reception. He has a low average depth of target, and that's what was stopping the explosiveness. But he still had 12 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get that from a guy who only gets 70 catches.
Yeah.
There aren't many players in the league that can do that. So, and I know, spoiler, he's my buy later since we're talking about him so much. Like you mentioned, he's at his lowest point right now. He has Drew Lock as his quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, Drew Lock is not a starting NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that with the pieces that they just got, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, a couple pieces, like, they are making a move.
Yeah, they're getting a quarterback.
Yeah, they're not drafting Matt Corral at 9. And if they are, they're going to, still trade other pieces to get him and then have somebody compete. But I really, that's Matt Corral or Drew Lock. I mean, you still got someone
the same quarterback pretty much.
But, he's getting 130 targets a game or a season. That's what he's getting. You're seeing that as your floor.
No matter who the quarterback is.
Yeah. So if I'm going to get 1,100 yards and 8 to 10 touchdowns from DK, that's a borderline wide receiver 1. And if not a little higher. So you got people that are probably really scared, thinking he's not even a wide receiver 2. I hope they're talking about moving on from Tyler Lockett too. So if they do that, then you got people really worried. And then I will too, but DK's improved each year on his route tree. And that's been the biggest concern was, his hips are bad, or, he can only run, the go route. But no, he's been working on his route tree. And he's been getting a lot better at that. And that's also, like I said, a reason why they changed their offense. And, they weren't just running all the way down the field and chucking it.
Well, let's jump over to that. How do you feel about the Denver offense now?
Well, yeah. So the player that was traded for that, like we mentioned, all the picks and Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and Shelby Harris. Noah Fant's gonna be a big help for DK too. But yeah, I love this trade. I love this trade for both teams.
Who won?
I mean, so Denver definitely won. Unless
no, you know who won?
If Seattle gets Watson,
you want to know who won?
Seattle won. Wow.
No, Judy, Sutton, they won.
They're big winners. They're very big winners. But no, truthfully, I think that if Seattle does make a trade for Watson, I can't imagine. Well, I guess, do you think Watson is traded? Do you think his package is going to be more than this package?
No.
I understand they're like 7 years in age difference, 6 years in age difference, but
no,
he's more elite and he's showing.
Yeah, the criminal charges are going to lower the value for him still. I know he was just released of those charges, but the NFL likes to do crazy things even when players aren't found guilty in the legal system. The NFL still might come down harsh on him to set an example or whatever their suspension policies are in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean,
but I don't think it's going to be as high. He hasn't played it. He hasn't played in almost 2 years football. And what's going on off the field too.
Yeah, and I'm sure Drew Lock would probably be traded in the deal. So if Houston can get Drew Lock 2 firsts, a second, conditional third, something like that
something like
kind
that.
of package, I'd imagine that's going to be enough to entice him to say, hey, this is what we're planning to do. We're not going to pay this guy $40 million a year. And I believe they're going to shorten, if I'm not incorrect, they might have a lower cap hit if they got Watson too. Yeah. So they get rid of Russell, pay him less, and get younger at quarterback. I don't know.
Hey, they're getting a quarterback because Pete Carroll is friggin' 70 years old. They're not going to sit there and draft a rookie quarterback or go into season with Drew Lock.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a chance that Pete Carroll gets walked out too, and they go young
next year. So we'll wait now.
Or sorry, yes, one more year, but there's a chance for sure.
That's my thing. If he's still calling the shots there, he's not drafting a rookie quarterback to develop him.
Yeah.
For who? The next coach? Great.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I think I do think they're definitely in.
Yeah, they tagged Rashad Penny too, I think, right?
Yeah, which is a little odd.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Here's the thing. Not to go on off topic here.
Penny, for your thoughts?
They have Chris Carson, and Chris Carson gets hurt. But they had like 4 other running backs in front of Penny and didn't give him a shot till like towards the end of the year. And then even towards the end of the year, there was a couple games where like, why is Penny not getting the ball? He does so much ass backwards, Pete Carroll, in his offense. It doesn't make sense to me. And then you're gonna tag the guy. Let him hit free agency. Let him go to a team that's actually going to use him, because you know what's going to happen. There's 2 running backs that are going to split carries, and it's going to kill fantasy value for both of those guys.
Yeah, and they would throw the ball historically low with Russell Wilson. Like, that's the other thing. They're going to tag Penny, so does that mean they're going to want to keep running the ball? We'll see what their new offense is going to be. But like I said, they've usually are the bottom 4.
How much was his tag hit?
I think it was like I think he's even like $4 or $5 million. That actually might be a lie. It's probably higher than that. I hope not. But we were talking about Scary Terry. You were talking about new quarterbacks getting moved. Another one is going to be Carson Wentz. That one was kind of shocking to me. I'm going to be honest. He was traded to the Washington Commanders. Indianapolis and Frank Reich moved on from him real quick.
Is he any better than Heineke?
Yeah. So I love the move. I love the move for the Commanders. I love the move for Terry McLaurin. We have to remember Curtis Samuel.
How much better?
So this is easily the best quarterback he's had, like easily.
Well, how much better is he than Tyler Heineke?
I don't know. I would say at least 2 times better.
How about
Heineke was limited in my mind. Like, they both can use their legs. You're not like the problem is Carson Wentz doesn't turn the ball over very often. He fumbles, I get that, but he had 7 interceptions, 14 in the last 2 years. Like you're not gonna. He may have lost the game for Indy a couple times in the end of the season, but he's got another great defense and he's got great wide receivers. I personally don't think Indianapolis was developed enough at the wide receiver to help Carson the way they needed to, as much as I think that Washington can. I know that sounds. I know it sounds odd. I know you think that, but Curtis Samuel has been in the league now for 6 years. That dude is one of the best route runners in this league. Unfortunate injury, absolutely unfortunate. I love what he brings to the table for Carson Wentz. He's exactly like Paris Campbell. He's exactly what that was in Indy, but he never could acclimate because he keeps getting injured, which stinks. But Paris Campbell, the first game of the season, had like 9 targets. First game with Carson Wentz and Paris Campbell coming back after another injury, my man gets peppered. That's what I think is going to happen with Curtis Samuel.
What are you going to give me for Curtis Samuel?
And then Terry McLaurin, he's just he's just amazing. He's a great possessive wide receiver. He's very fast. He's great in yards after catch. I think that Terry McLaurin now easily has the best wide receiver. The problem is Carson's afraid to throw.
You know who's not afraid to throw?
Separation.
You know who's not afraid to throw?
Yeah, a guy who doesn't care about his job.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick and Heineke. Neither of them that are like, hey, we just got nothing to lose. So that's my only fear. But you have Gibson as well. Antonio Gibson taking another step forward, a great pass catching back. He uses Nyheim Hines all the time, so that gives him some comfort. We'll see if they sign McKissick, who's going to be an unrestricted free agent. Yeah, I don't know. And they have reliable tight end. Yeah, he's 30, but he's breaking out just like we're seeing Darren Waller do as well. So I don't know. I'm not saying I'm over the top and ecstatic for Wentz. I just think he actually is surrounded by a little bit better of an offense now than he was in Indy.
Whatever you say. The Eagles fans are going to kill him when he returns.
Yeah, they are. That's going to be interesting. Back in the same division. That's the other thing. He's back in the division that he's familiar with. So, speaking of familiarity.
Yeah, I was going to mention it. Go ahead.
Aaron Rodgers returning to the Packers. Something else I didn't expect. I thought he was going to go to the 49ers. Hot commodity we have here is the 49ers. But no, he's staying back. It sounds like Devontae Adams got franchise tagged. So he'll be back. MVS will not. EQ St. Brown will not. So they got a few pieces that they also have to add. And this might be the year where Rodgers says, give me a damn wide receiver that I'm looking for.
Yeah. Trade Love for someone.
So what was it? A 4-year deal that they said came out $200 million,
supposedly,
153 guaranteed, but
Rodgers
came
tweeted
out it wasn't.
He said he didn't sign anything, which I don't listen. That guy, he's attention. He loves the attention. But is Love going to be the worst first round draft pick in NFL history?
No, because what it looks at is team success. And what did the team still do? And I think they succeeded, and they're going to get compensation for Love. But what I understand.
You wasted.
I know where you're going with that.
You wasted a first.
Did they waste it though? Because where else at that time? I'd have to
wide receiver.
But if they drafted a quarterback, so they weren't going to go wide receiver anyway.
There were so many more options than drafting a quarterback when you have Aaron Rodgers. It's like the Bills drafting a quarterback in the second round.
Hindsight's 20/20 for a reason, man. If you didn't know where your quarterback would be and you had a lot of,
I guess.
I mean, I still think the pick was dumb. Trust me, I still think it was dumb. I don't think it's just the worst ever.
Okay,
it's definitely. I mean, Jamarcus Russell was still really bad.
Yeah, that was
bad. But
regardless, remember when they gave him plays to watch, and they gave him a DVD, and they asked him, "Hey, what do you like about these? What do you like? Did you like the plays?" He's like, "Yeah, I liked them." There's a blank DVD.
They're great plays.
All right, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
Well, that's always one of the easies. But yeah, no, Jordan Love, I think he'll be traded, and then we'll see maybe some compensation, which will help. But once that contract was announced, though, same thing. Like we were talking, and I said, like, that doesn't make any sense for the Packers or for Aaron Rodgers, because he goes from thinking about retiring to what? Shailene Woodley breaks up with him, so now he's going to play football for 4 more years, three for sure. Like, and then the Packers. His fiance.
That's news to me.
Yeah, they broke up, but
poor guy.
He
probably can't find anyone else.
He was not doing well.
200 million. I'm sure you could buy a couple.
Yeah.
A couple wives.
So, as a Davante Adams owner, you're going to get his best quarterback, his best option still. What are you doing with Adams now? 29. You're probably telling yourself he's got one more year, though. They could still work out a deal. What are you thinking?
I have him in a league. I traded for him last year. I gave up Akers in a first or something like that. I don't even know. And I'm looking at my team, and I think I want to move him this year. This is the year you got to move him, I think, because one, he's 29, like you said, so getting close to 30. But where's he going next year? They're not going to keep franchise tagging him for another year.
It depends on that Rodgers contract. That's what I got to see. If it's got to be a 3-year contract, my guess. 3 years, the first 2 is guaranteed, and a third voidable is my assumption. Or he strings them along year to year.
How pissed is Adams?
Which part? He's getting paid.
My quarterback got paid for multiple years. I'm getting a 1-year deal.
He's getting the franchise tag, which is I think it's like tag. They do, but him and I'm not worried about the 29 personally. Elites, I believe, do live on.
I'm over it.
No, but it's an argument. It's definitely something you'll have in your crutch when you're trying to trade for Adams. Oh well, yeah, he may be elite, but he's 29.
Yeah, I don't want to give up a first or whatever. How about a second? That's how those trade talks go.
Yeah, but is he still worth? So just regular. We won't go super flex. Just regular PPR. Is he still worth a first or 2 firsts? Sorry.
I mean, I think right this second he is.
If you're a competing team, would you give up your next 2 years?
Yeah, I would. Because draft picks are nice, but they're not a guarantee. I mean, nothing in life is a guarantee, but I mean, at least you know what you're going to get out of Davante Adams when he's healthy, with Aaron Rodgers at his quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I just started looking at the rookies last week, so just based off my eyes from watching college football during the season, and obviously everybody else is talking about it too. It's not going to be a great class. So, barring anything more kind of moving on, if you're a competing team, most likely you got a lower pick. So give it up for Adams, and you're probably going to do well again if you're trying to go for the championship. So your pick 2 years from now is going to be lower, and if Adams gets traded or goes somewhere else, or he's a Packer again, you're winning out. Yeah. Don't be worried about giving up 2 firsts. Like Keenan just said, if you're getting that guarantee, which you are, like we know for sure Adams is a top 3 wide receiver this year. Like there's no doubt about it. Top 3 wide receiver. The top following 3? Year, he's probably top 2. I can't call him top 1. I can't do that.
Who's 1? Cup?
I feel like Cup has to be number 1.
Chase?
Like there's nothing that's going to change that's going to make Cup not have a very similar year than he just had.
Yeah.
And Chase is going to be up there too. I think the
Jefferson.
Just to talk about Chase for a second, like that's the biggest thing for wide receivers year 1 to year 2. Year 1, learn the offense, learn how to run some routes. Year 2, really learn how to run some routes and figure it out. Like that's the big thing, and that's usually where you see year 3 making.
My man learned the offense in 5 weeks.
Yeah, he had that so easily. Yeah. He's learning the NFL quickly, so it's like if they can just figure it out between the 20s.
Yeah.
Because we know he'll get you 60, 70, 80-yard touchdowns. If they can figure it out between the 20s, he'll be number 1.
That's how you know he figured it out. Early in the season, it was all bombs. Over the top. What happened? In the middle of the season,
started getting some 7-8 catch games.
Yep, and breaking, for 20, 30, 40, 50-yard touchdown runs.
Yeah, he is absolutely ridiculous. Anybody that took that gamble got the payoff. The Bengals gambled and obviously paid off. So Aaron Rodgers, that's where I'm thinking about Adams. So definitely 2 first.
Let's jump into these free agents here real quick.
Yeah, let's do that. Oh, Zach Ertz, he also inked a 3-year deal with Arizona.
What's going on with quarterback there? Is he going to come back?
Oh, Kyler, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I honestly have no idea what Arizona is doing. I don't know why they haven't paid him yet. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone got paid. The coach, the GM, Hopkins. What about me? When you're sitting there, everyone's getting paid. I mean, I'm not a big Kyler guy. I don't know how high are you on Kyler?
Pretty high.
Are you? You see, I think, I mean, he's a top 10 maybe in fantasy wise. I don't know how I feel about him, having a $200 million contract behind his name.
He's top 5 for me. Probably 5 at the moment, but the problem for me is Cliff Kingsbury. Like the second half of the season, I'll be honest, actually it was probably the first 5 games of the second half of the season, so like 9 to 13, because the last few games of the season and the playoff game, man, I couldn't watch any of that. Like Kyler was literally doing everything for himself. And that's the problem. Nobody was helping. Nobody was getting open. The play calling was horrendous.
Well, that's
it was a video game.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like he's great. Murray is amazing. It's just
and Hopkins went down. When Hopkins went down, the whole offense went down.
Yeah, now Kirk's gone. AJ Green's gone. They need to make some moves. That's for sure. Chase Edmonds is gone, James Conner is gone, and you're not paying your quarterback. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Your whole offense has holes, and you're not telling the main person that will keep that offense afloat, we want to give you money.
He didn't do himself any favors by releasing that huge statement.
No, and they're gonna speak their mind. So yeah, we got free agency coming up here in a couple days. Tampering period, we said, starts tomorrow at noon. So March 16th at 4 p.m.
Are these running backs that are free agents? I mean,
I realize it's Wednesday, not Tuesday. I kept saying it was Tuesday the 16th. Wednesday the 16th at 4 p.m.
You'll find most of these players will sign before that. At least you'll know.
Yeah, you're going to find out definitely what's going on. But I mean, some notable running backs: Melvin Gordon.
That's about it. Fournette.
Sorry, apparently my TV's going off over here.
Fournette.
You got Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette.
Cordell Patterson,
James, like I said, just James Conner, Chase Edmonds, Cordell Patterson, Sony Michel. There's a few. I think half of those people will probably see going back to their old stomping grounds. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta grabs Patterson again, or Fournette goes back to Tampa Bay with everything going on, and Gordon in Denver. Gordon in Denver would really stink. I wouldn't like that at all.
I was just about to mention that some of these players that are free agents are going to hurt some other players' fantasy values, because they're going to sign with a team like, let's say, the Washington football team or the Commanders, whatever the hell they want to be called nowadays, sign Ronald Jones. That hurts Gibson's value. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, this is the scary part when at the running back position. I mean, for years we watched, J.D. McKissick, take away carries from Gibson, Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette. Who you drafted? So,
and that was one of the things we talked about earlier was, do you take the gamble prior to moments like this that some players will or will not? Like, like you had just mentioned, is Washington going to add somebody? Well, if you're worried, you're probably going to try to move on from Gibson if you already want a Gibson owner.
I think they are.
But if they don't add anybody and it's the Gibson show, well, you're paying off. Like, you're not trading for Gibson afterwards if nobody gets added for running backs. Like, the value is probably going to at least double. And whether you're a believer or not, he's going to get the workload.
The only running back that interests me here fantasy wise out of all these free agents, honestly, 2 of them, Cordell Patterson and Ronald Jones. If they could sign somewhere and be a starter or get most of the carries, I think you have a good fantasy running back.
Especially, I think one of these guys,
especially Patterson, you think Atlanta would want to re-sign him after what he did last year, but I'm sure he wants to cash in.
He probably does, but there's nobody in free agency that they could really add. James Conner, he might be someone worth, or Chase Edmonds might be kind of nice in Atlanta, I'll be honest. But now that you don't got your best player for the whole year, it's going to be tough to figure out what their next move is. Yeah. I'm sure they're heavily regretting not drafting a quarterback now, as opposed to Matt Ryan and getting Pitts. Yeah. Things could have been a lot different for them right now. But wide receiver wise, you got some.
I think this is the more interesting thing.
Absolutely, yeah. You got some not elite names, but you got some names. Juju Smith-Schuster pops out. He's definitely the number one list, at least for me. But Allen Robinson, DJ Chark, Will Fuller, AJ Green, Sammy Watkins, T.Y. Hilton.
Did you say Allen Robinson?
Jason Crowder, yeah. And who's popping off there besides Juju for you?
I'm curious where Robinson's going to go. I think he's going to go to New England. I think that's who they're going to target to get that wide receiver one for Mac Jones. And I think that's going to hurt him. I don't think Mac Jones is a good quarterback. I think you disagree, but if he can go to, let's say, I think we talked about it off air. What if Allen Robinson went to
Buffalo?
Yeah, Buffalo would be nice. The Browns.
Oh yeah.
Amari Cooper, Robinson. I think that would be nice. But what if Allen Robinson goes to Kansas City?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
I mean, Robinson's gone. I don't know if Pringle's still under contract or what. I think
Demarcus Robinson's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Allen Robinson is not going to. I think he wants to win a championship. He's gotten his money already from the Bears and whoever else he was on before the Bears, but I think he's going to take a deal where it's a team-friendly deal, and he's going to end up with one of the bigger teams. Buffalo would be nice.
Tampa Bay. I think
Kansas
Buffalo,
City.
Tampa Bay, and Kansas City. Now, those are probably the three highest spots. I'll be honest.
Last
Indianapolis.
Baltimore.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
That would be.
That
nice.
kind of reminds the Anquan Bolden days.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it is. Allen Robinson is a really good possession wide receiver. He had never had that great of a quarterback at all. He's shown abilities again to be great. Had a 1,400-yard, 14 touchdown.
Who was he drafted by? The
Jaguars. Yeah. That was his rookie year with Bortles.
Get out of here. He was a rookie that year.
Yeah.
He's one of those players that seems like they've been in the league forever, but it's probably been like
that or second year. No, but it was that was 2015. I want to say because I remember I had him on my I won a fantasy championship.
Yeah,
big reason to Allen Robinson. But he's not Allen Robinson anymore. He's not the 1,414, but he is a very good wide receiver too. He distracts the cornerbacks from your wide receiver one, and like you just said, he's got his money. So that's a big reason he wants to go and do that. 2014, his second year, 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns.
I think he goes to New England now.
I think it would be New England might be interesting, but 100 catches and 1,250 yards a year ago.
New England might be the only team that can give him both money and a chance to win a Super Bowl.
But it's based on name value there because I don't know. I mean, I personally,
the Bills don't have the cap room. The Chiefs don't either.
Caps,
Yeah, I know. Cap, yeah, you could.
Once Beasley's gone, they have the room for Robinson. But Jamison Crowder, not Jamison, but I think we've talked a bit on Robinson there. But Juju Smith-Schuster, that's the biggest name. Like we mentioned on the list, he took a gamble on himself, signed with Steelers one more year, didn't go too well, got injured, unfortunately. But where's a place you think Juju might belong?
It's a good question. It really is. The first team that came to mind is Carolina, but I don't know why, because they don't have a quarterback. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a team that has, he's going to want a contract, a multi-year contract. So
yeah, so I like Arizona, to be honest with you.
That's who I was just going to say too.
Yeah, if they can go with Arizona, he's always done well with having a player on the outside and letting him play the slot. They just got rid of Christian Kirk. No more AJ Green. They got Rondale Moore to play in the slot too, but we've also obviously seen Rondale Moore can be on the outside. Juju can be on the outside. And the amount of speed. They love speed.
Yeah.
Andy Isabella's obviously there. So I don't know what that cap room might look like right now. But Juju as a Cardinal would be real dangerous, especially with Murray, obviously. I think he'd be really good in Buffalo. I know we keep mentioning Buffalo, but Buffalo needs a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Gabe Davis, to me, is not the wide receiver, too, that you are going to be putting out right now when you have a Super Bowl caliber team. He is not proven just yet. You can believe in him all you want, but he hasn't proven anything.
Especially with the AFC, it's like a arms race.
Whatever. You need a third wide receiver these days.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that the Bills adding a slot receiver or a really good X receiver would be, Z would be really nice. So Juju, that's where I see those two spots. I see him going to a competing team. I don't see him signing with a team that doesn't have the ability. Could I see him going to Chicago or like Detroit? I mean, yeah, if he's going to get $15 million a year.
Yeah, if they're going to overpay him.
Yeah, but I feel like he wants to win.
But everyone else is, I think I don't think they're very, fans. There's not much fantasy. Maybe Will Fuller.
Will Fuller would be really good in New England. I think for Mac Jones. Not that he would actually succeed a lot, but we have seen, some success recently in New England with some players, unanticipated. But
Nelson
Will
Aguilar.
Fuller would, Nelson. He Corey Davis didn't do amazing things, but he had a few games, and I think Will Fuller would take the top off for them. They don't have that kind of explosive player to do that. And for Mac Jones, that would really free up the middle for him. That would free up the short yardage. So that might be a good spot. DJ Chark, I think, is underrated.
Very underrated.
As well as Christian Kirk. They both can offer a lot in the right offenses.
Remember last year there was a rumor that Chark was going to the Ravens.
Oh, I did forget about that. That's
Remember
right.
that?
And that dropped real quick.
Yeah.
Well, hey, then maybe he goes back to the Ravens. That'd be interesting.
We'll see.
Let's
jump into these buys and sells.
Let's jump into this. We are just near that hour mark, so we just have the buys and sells, which I've already hit on a bit, and the Mafia market to go through. So just a little bit of housekeeping here. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at the Dynasty Mafia _FF. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Antonio Denisi FF and Keenan at Keenan _716.
Yeah, isn't that
there you go? There we go. Make sure you check us out on YouTube. Make sure to hit the like button. Helps us out. Hit that subscribe button too, so you get notifications every time we come on. You can see our beautiful attire rocking that UCLA and Duke for March Madness coming up. We're going, by the way. We are here in Buffalo, and
we are
here. And damn,
I'm excited.
I cannot wait. We got tickets for the whole freaking weekend.
Some of those games are going to be. I just want to see a buzzer beater. I want someone from half court. But we'll talk. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
All right, let's jump into these buys and sells here, Antonio. Who's your first buy?
So we each got to buy. We each got to sell. Keeping it a little light before free agents coming through, but it's somebody I'm gambling with. Two people I'm gambling with. So first was DK Metcalf. We talked a lot about him, so I'm not going to go too much into it again. But I'm just kind of reiterate. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. I think he's going to be given a lot of opportunities, and I think he's going to have a quarterback that's going to want to throw him the ball. Not that Russell Wilson didn't, but he was catching about 60 to 55%, 55 to 60% of his balls. If you can get him a quarterback that can get that up to about 5 to 8% more higher, Russell Wilson's accurate as hell. Yeah. But if you start throwing that ball maybe north of 575 to 600 times, there's a good shot you're going to see DK with 150 plus targets, if not more, and he's going to be elite as hell. Yeah. You've already seen what he can do, and like I just said, 12 touchdowns on 72 catches. Has a 16% touchdown rate.
Yeah, you pretty much said the same thing for my buy. My buy is Amari Cooper. Target share, that's a big thing, guys. Landry's gone. OBJ's obviously been gone. Who's Baker throwing it to? Amari Cooper. I think he's going to a team where it's not a sexy team. They don't have a sexy quarterback. This is your chance to buy low on him and get a very, very good wide receiver. I think he's better than OBJ. Off air, I think you and I both agreed, Antonio, that he's better than OBJ. He's a better route runner. He still has the speed where OBJ doesn't. And I feel like, as long as Amari's getting the ball, I think Amari's going to, he's not going to run his mouth like OBJ did and his father. So it won't be as much pressure on Baker. But let me jump to my sell here. Now, stick with me. I know everyone's going to think I'm crazy, but my sell is Jerry Jeudy. I know they just got Russell Wilson, which is awesome, for that whole offense. The problem is everything in Denver is new. Head coach, offense coordinator, quarterback. The only thing that's the same is the wide receiver core and the running back. But here's my thing. It's just a lot of unknown. Is that offense going to be great? Sure. Probably, most likely. But I just don't know who's going to be his Wilson's number one. We've seen it play out in Seattle with Lockett and Metcalf. 1 week it's Lockett, 1 week it's Metcalf. This week it's whoever. You never seen a consistency with Russell Wilson being able to spread the ball around. There's a lot of mouths to feed in Denver. This is your time because people are going to be so high on Judy. This is your time to sell him high. I just traded Judy and got Cooper Kupp in return. So
what are you accepting as a Jerry Judy owner then?
I need to upgrade at wide receiver. That's why I pulled the trade on when I traded Judy, Gibson, and Chanel for Cordell Patterson, James Robinson, and Cooper Kupp. I upgraded and got wide receiver one.
Run through that one more time. So you got
Cordell Patterson,
yep,
James Robinson, Cooper Kupp for Judy, Robinson, and Chanel. Here's the thing: 5 minutes before Wilson was traded to Judy, am I able to pull that trade off and get Cooper Kupp?
Right?
No, you're not.
That's a good point.
And the second Russell Wilson went there, Judy's value went up. Let me grab wide receiver one from last year. So,
I mean, that's fair. Like, there's a chance. Noah Fant's gone too, so he's another piece that's not taking away from Judy. And he's got one of the most air yards in the league. He's a fantastic route runner. I disagree with it very humbly, though. I respect everything you did just say, but I think there's a chance that Judy just takes a ridiculous leap.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will.
Of course. But you got Kupp.
I'm sure he will. Yeah.
You got Kupp.
That's the thing. You have to get a better player. You're not trading Judy for a couple firsts. I don't think that does it, because you might as well keep Judy. He's a young player. What is his third year in the league? Probably gonna be really good. But if you're gonna trade Judy, you wanna upgrade at one of the positions, running back or wide receiver, and get the better player. That's why I pulled the trigger and got Kupp. Like I said, 5 minutes before Wilson was a Bronco, there's no shot I'm able to get Cooper Kupp with Jerry Judy in the deal.
Yeah, good stuff there.
Your sell's pretty interesting, and I like it. I really do.
I have not been a Aaron Jones lover the last few years, and I know he's been productive, but Aaron Jones is the time to do it. You don't want to be a year behind. You want to be a year ahead. And I think that Aaron Jones is probably going to fall off a little bit more than he already had, and it might be time for A.J. Dillon to be sweeping in. He's going to be 28. He's coming off his worst season in 3 years. He played 15 out of 17 games, and he still only scored in 5 of those games. Yeah. A.J. Dillon scored in only 5 games too, but it's the touches that are ridiculous. It was after week 10. So week 10 was the big turning point for them. A.J. Dillon had 111 carries, and Aaron Jones only had 55. He played only 5 out of those last 7, and A.J. Dillon played in all 7, but that still is double the amount of carries that he had. And A.J. Dillon was still getting receptions, and he was still getting 20-plus yard carries. It was I'm sorry, I'm looking. Jones had in those 5 games. I'm sorry, the whole season, Jones had 5 games with 14 or more. None of those came after week 8. Once it switched over to the A.J. Dillon show, A.J. Dillon had none over 30 in the first 9 weeks. And after that, he had nothing but 30-plus every game except for 2. So A.J. Dillon was getting a lot of action, especially with the snap count. And I just think that A.J. Dillon's going to come in and he's going to take over the game like they need him to. And he's a bigger guy. So he's obviously going to slow it down when they want that. That's very apparent, like the Green Bay game against the Cardinals. I think it was when they were without Devontae Adams and they won the game like 13-10 or something like that.
Yeah.
They had to hand the ball off a lot, and A.J. Dillon was a big benefactor in that.
Yeah.
And he's just a big dude. And I'm just really worried about Aaron Jones. They're paying him the money. And we just saw such a big collapse this year compared to what he was 2 years ago. He's right now, he finishes the running back 11, and it was 14th in points per games. And he finished ahead of Delvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Derrick Henry, and Nick Chubb. I see Aaron finishing behind all 5 of those guys next year. So now you're talking about a low end too.
Especially if Matt LaFleur came out last week and said, we have 2 number 1 running backs on our team.
Yep.
So I mean, he's not wrong by saying that, but if you're pretty much admitting that, Green is another, a good running back for you, you're not going to use him.
Yeah, and that's like I said, it was the last 7 games, and then you saw in the playoff too. I mean, it's just where's the turning of the guard, and Aaron Jones, you can still sell him right now for a first. Like 100%, you can get a first for Aaron Jones, and I would probably honestly trade the first to flip the first, maybe even get a third on top of it.
He's only 27, which is crazy.
Yeah, he'll be 28 by the time they're playing, and he's still young, but they have a better, more effective running back right now for what they're looking to do. So, yeah, I'm moving Aaron Jones right now.
Yeah,
so
I like it.
That's a couple buys and sells for you. I'm buying DK Metcalf. Keenan's buying Amari Cooper, and he sold Jerry Jeudy, and I'm selling Aaron Jones. So we're gonna wrap our show up with the Mafia Market. That's gonna get us into 4 trades we have here. Keenan.
Well, we talked about one of them.
Yeah, this has been going a bit in your league.
Yeah, I don't know.
All these trades I think are in your league, aren't they? Your Superflex.
They're all nuts. One trade happens, they all want to get in the action. But
we had a few good moves that we really wanted to discuss. Keenan, you already talked about your trade: Cordarrelle Patterson, Cooper Kupp, James Robinson.
And the reason I did that trade, for Jeudy,
for Jerry Jeudy, Antonio Gibson, and Laviska Shenault.
The reason I did that trade, people, I had a backup plan at running back. I traded for Mixon, traded Dallas Goedert and Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, right. Shortly after you making that move, you traded Dallas Goedert and Josh Jacobs for Joe Mixon. It's a Superflex 1.5 tight end premium, so 1.5 receptions for tight ends.
The way I look
Dallas
at it,
Goedert gets a lot of catches.
The way I look at it, I gave up Jeudy, Gibson, and Jacobs and Goddard, and I got Kupp and Mixon. So
it wound up working out in your favor, that's for sure. I know you've been worried about Gibson a little bit. You were just talking about your worries for Jeudy. Shenault, obviously, you want to go move him, and you got a good pieces out of that.
That's unfortunate. And Shenault.
I know. I love my Shenault. Dude, he still is my highest shared owned player in all my leagues, him and Ridley. So,
Well, I was shocked by that Lamb trade. I thought that was very low.
Yeah, so we had a trade. CeeDee Lamb got moved. This owner was really adamant about moving CeeDee Lamb. I'm not sure why. But they traded CeeDee Lamb for Mark Andrews and the 106.
Let's just say this owner moved Lamb, Diggs, and Kupp in a week.
Yeah, it was interesting. But Mark Andrews and the 106 for CeeDee Lamb. So like I said, it is a 1.5 premium. So Mark Andrews did have just north of 100 catches last year. So, if he can repeat that feat, it'll be probably a close trade, close to being worth it. For me, it's still not.
It's not worth it.
I'll be honest. I did offer Travis Kelce and the 108. So that owner did turn me down. Just saying.
Yeah. But if this was last year, if they still had Amari Cooper, sure. Okay. I can see it. Not without Amari Cooper there.
Yeah. That's no, and and the same thing with Mark Andrews. I mean, he just had over 100 catches, but they have Hollywood Brown was in and out. They had a rookie wide receivers. Their whole damn team was injured. I mean, I think it's an outlier.
Speaking of Hollywood Brown, was that story true that he's retiring? You going to go game?
No. That's,
okay.
I believe he's doing that in the offseason or something, but no.
That was weird. I know.
No.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but Lamb is, in my opinion, worth more than that. Now, I know, like I said, I offered Kelce in the 108, and people probably sitting there like, oh, Kelce's 31, 32, and, crappy year for the first. I get that. But again, in a 1.5 premium league, Kelce, and I've said it before, elites are elite. They're not going down when most people are going down. And Kelce was still the best. He's still setting records now. He's going to be great for another 2 or 3 years. Make the move for players like that. It's a 2 to 3 year window for all these things, or for all these rosters in my mind and all my guys.
I think age is overrated in fantasy football.
Yeah, for the most part, I can heavily agree with that. Our last trade. This is our big trade. I was involved in this one, so I traded.
They're all big trades.
Yeah, they were all kind of big trades. You're right, but with getting our Superflex, finally getting some quarterbacks really involved. Tua, Jalen Hurts, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and a third. So we'll get rid of Peoples-Jones in the third. So Tua and Jalen Hurts for Lamar Jackson, Chuba Hubbard, and a 23 third.
So it's Tua Hurts for Lamar.
Tua and Hurts for Lamar.
And Donovan Peoples-Jones a third for Hubbard in a third.
Hubbard in another third. So, I mean, the people that made this trade, me and Savvy, we are both Tua and Hurts fans. So you have two people making these trades before anybody's judging. Two people that are making these trades are both fans of these quarterbacks. So I did move them with that upgrade ability. I have Kyler Murray as well. So I had Kyler, Tua, and Hurts.
Yeah.
I decided I'm going to upgrade and jump to Lamar, and I got like Matt Ryan or, Taysom Hill, whatever. But I feel really good about the move. But I also think that it was a good trade because there is more risk on the Tua and Hurts side, but there's also a higher ceiling, in my opinion.
See, I disagree with the ceiling. You got the better player, 100%. I just disagree with the ceiling, the higher ceiling for them. I don't think they'll ever be better than Lamar, and I think Lamar he had a bad year last year because of his injuries, and there's no shot he's going to have a bad year again.
But we're seeing Hurts do really good things, and
But here's my thing, Antonio.
You don't have to be a good quarterback in the NFL. You just got to be a good fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, that's a good point. But here's my thing with Hurts, that they haven't really committed to him.
No,
every couple months, it's like both of these quarterbacks. A couple months, we had Tom Brady on the yacht. We tried to sign him. We're trying to trade for Deshaun Watson, and it's always something behind these two quarterbacks. What happens if one? I mean, it's a good trade. I always side with the team that got the better player, and you got Lamar, and that's why I'm siding with you.
Yeah, but I mean, you're very right. I mean, it could fall flat on the other person's face. But when it's two people that are both fans of the players, that's where I think it kind of made sense.
I just hate making fantasy trades before free agency plays out. It can ruin a lot of things.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. It certainly can, but that's where, like you said, you're playing the gamble.
Yeah.
But in this situation, you just said Ridley was being offered by Philly, so maybe that means they're going to be jumping at someone else. Maybe Allen Robinson could be someone to help out Hurts.
That's a good point.
So, all right, that ends that trade. That ends the show. Episode 50 done. I still can't believe we made it 50 episodes. We just hit our 2-year anniversary last week, or I got to double check when that is, man. But no, it's been quick and it's been amazing, and we appreciate everybody that's been involved.
This podcast,
and continuing to listen.
This podcast started something as something to do during the pandemic, and
we were one of those.
And we were and we learned.
In my defense, I wanted to start one the summer beforehand.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
start moving.
But we have learned. We have learned the last year or so that it's tougher once everything's wide open. The whole country's open. You could go to concerts. You could go to March Madness like we are. So we are definitely going to try to commit 100% and try to bring you guys some awesome fantasy content. And we appreciate you guys sticking with us through for 50 episodes. I mean, God, Antonio, how many times we would have seen each other if we didn't do a podcast?
Yeah,
once a year.
A very good point.
Once a year. Now
you get when we're doing our drafts.
Yeah, now you get to see my beautiful face every Sunday or whenever we decided pod.
Yeah, I'm jealous all the time, man. Yeah. But no, truthfully, it is amazing. I hope that we get another 50 more, get that nice 100, and we're excited to be back for 51. So next week we got some off-season tips. We're probably going to do a little bit of some mock drafting. Those startups are coming, and then we're going to be diving deep into the rookies. We have some consistency ratings as well. A lot of information is coming. We are just 8 short weeks away from the draft, 7 short weeks away, 6 short weeks away from the draft. So we got to actually start moving, man. The combine just happened.
It seems so far, but it's so close.
I know. It's really moving. So with that being said, everybody, thanks again. Have a great night. Mafia out.
Go Duke.